as part of the Capability Upgrade Program of the AFP Modernization Program under RA 7898, the Philippine Army, PA, requested for the acquisition of combat field ambulance vehicles to improve its medical evacuation capability to move injured personnel away from combat front lines, and provide medical assistance to military personnel enduring peace or wartime operations, and to assist in humanitarian requirements. The Field Ambulance Acquisition Project of the Philippine Army was raised to meet the service's requirements for such capabilities. Since the Philippine Army has several acquisition projects of field combat ambulances, Max Defense has identified this as Phase 1 to differentiate with succeeding acquisition projects of similar equipment. The first project to meet such requirement, the Field Ambulance, Phase 1, acquisition project was funded through the AFP Modernization Program, with a target to acquire 60 field combat ambulances. While it was a Philippine Army project, the Philippine Navy has made a joint request for a few units on behalf of the Philippine Marine Corps. The Field Ambulance, Phase 1, project included 48 units for the Philippine Army, and 12 units for the Philippine Marine Corps. This resource page focuses on the Field Ambulance, Phase 1, project, and to distinctly separate it from a follow-on and related project called the Field Ambulance, Phase 2, acquisition project, which has its own resource page separate from this one. Overview. Under the Field Ambulance Acquisition Project, the Philippine Army requested for the acquisition of field ambulances which would allow them to transport wounded personnel quickly to field medical facilities during combat operations, or to provide humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, HADR, support during emergencies. Back then, the Philippine Army has an almost non-existent combat ambulance capability, and only had a handful of combat ambulances comprising of a few M35 2.5-ton 6x6 trucks. Previously, the Philippine Army had British-made Alvis FV-104 Samaritan armored ambulances, which were retired in the early 1990s. An initial project called the Field Ambulance, Phase 1, acquisition project of the Philippine Army, which was contracted in 2012 and included a requirement for a few units for the Philippine Navy on behalf of the Philippine Marine Corps, called for the acquisition of 60 units of field combat ambulances, which were acquired through government-to-government (G2G) deal with the South Korean government through the Defense Acquisition Program Administration (DAPA). DAPA endorsed Hyundai Motors to provide the vehicles using the Kia KM 451 1 1/4 ton 4x4 field combat ambulance. Despite being produced by Kia Motors, it should be noted that the car company is now under the Hyundai Group, making Kia Motors a subsidiary of Hyundai Motors Company. Of the 60 units of Kia KM 451 field combat ambulances delivered under the project, 48 units were delivered to the Philippine Army, and 12 units to the Philippine Marine Corps between late 2012 to January 2013. These vehicles constitute the Philippine Army's first KM 451 vehicles, as the service received more units in 2016 under a different contract. With the combat field ambulance vehicles already delivered and formally activated with different units of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, specifically the Philippine Army and Philippine Marine Corps, Max Defense officially consider the Field Ambulance, Phase 1, acquisition project of the Philippine Army as completed.